Welcome to another vintage fishing reel service video. In this episode, we're going to break ranks from the regular spin cast reels and move into a spinning reel. And this one is close to Zebco collectors' hearts because it was Langley that Zebco acquired to begin to introduce spinning reels to their lineup, and some of the pretty much unchanged initially. Some of the ones marked Zebco are the same as the Langley predecessors, but today I have a Langley SpinDrift model 860, and that's kind of boogered up there, but I think it says an L there, and I suspect that means it has something to do with I guess this would be a left-handed reel, because if I'm using a spinning reel and I'm right-handed, I want the handle over here, and I don't think this one is reversible. So it does not have any kind of clicker or anything, or any kind of levers on here for anti-reverse or anti-reverse override, and it has one of the least effective it does have an anti-reverse, but it takes you about a quarter of a turn or so to get the anti-reverse. So it looks to me like the anti-reverse engages only when this part of the bail reaches the top. So no matter where you are, that's where the anti-reverse engages. So about a quarter of a turn just to get your anti-reverse. This one is a little bit sluggish. This really needs to be lubricated. This is part of the sluggishness. And then it does appear, if I recall correctly, that the bail trips. So there doesn't seem to be anything major wrong with it. Nothing that hopefully a good service can't correct in terms of making it smooth and nice again. So just trying to figure out how I want to start here. I suppose we can start by taking off the spool. There is what looks like a clicker there. I guess that probably just be the drag clicker, hey? Yeah, that's the drag clicker. And looks like there's some fresh oil in there. Somebody probably just oiled it up quick before they sold it. I doubt if I'd be shocked if it's been serviced. And it's got, what is this here? I think this is a way to fold the handle back, and I don't want to bugger that up. Why, that's not budging at all. I don't know which way it turns, quite frankly. I'm afraid I'm going to damage something. Let's try taking off the handle, which looks like there's a pin in there. Let's see if I can find something for doing that here. Okay, I'm going to try. I think this punch is actually a little bit too wide. I guess I could get it started and get it freed up and then maybe go with something smaller, but I'm going to have to put this on a vise or something, so I'm going to have to do this off camera. Okay, so I've got a Phillips screwdriver. I didn't have a smaller punch, but that seemed to work just fine. So off comes the handle. I wonder if this has been used in salt water. It's not terrible, but kind of looks like maybe a little corrosion in there. Now the question is, I might have to lube this up. I don't know which way that collar threads on there, and I'm seeing what looks like corrosion in there. So I'm gonna let this soak in some WD-40 quick. Okay, I soaked it in WD-40 and then I heated it up a little bit with a cigarette lighter, and I think I've got it to loosen up. I think. So I'm doing a counterclockwise turn here, and it's moving, so yeah, look at you gotta wonder, I guess those threads are still, but this thing's been in salt water, I think. See that white corrosion on the threads? I hope they're still okay. I'll put a little oil on there and hopefully those threads are not so corroded that they're no longer functional. They seem to be okay. All right. Let's try removing this side plate here. And by the way, I think this reel dates to the mid-50s, maybe, certainly mid-50s, certainly before Zebco acquired them. So I'm going to guess, in that 1955-56 time period. They're called the SpinDrift. Like I said, it's like opening up a geode. We're soon going to find out what's inside of here, how bad it is. Looks like all those screws are the same length. Not too bad. Not much in the way of any grease in there at all. Start putting some of these parts in the parts tray. Guess we can try opening up this side. Come on, don't break and don't booger up. Uh-oh. That one's not tight. Assume these are the same screws. They are. And that's not a washer, that's just a built-in little ridge there. Now this little bugger. Barely moving. Don't break. There, it's starting to move. Come on, don't break. I did soak these with WD-40 a little bit. There it comes. There's some corrosion on the tip of that one. All right. Winkling, there it comes. See where the grease is pooled right there. So obviously whoever sold this just kind of threw some oil on it in certain places and left the rest go, which I like. Don't, you want to sell to me, don't service them. That's part of the fun. I want them farm fresh. Put those in the parts tray. And then we've got a crosswind block here that appears to be held on by a cotter pin, it looks like. So right there, and it looks like it goes through the shaft. So let's see if I can winkle that thing out of there. Oh, that wasn't too hard. Gosh, is that a factory cotter pin, or is that? I guess so. Looks almost like something somebody made. And can we pull this out now? There's the hole where the cotter pin went in. And there's your axle shaft and the crosswind block. And it's got a couple of rollers. Ooh, that one's stuck. There it comes. That needs cleaned badly. That's not spinning very well at all. But just remember when it goes in, see the handle was on that side. And so this part here faces the rear. The roller's right on there like that, and that channel is where the post on the main gear rides. So I'll have to remember how that goes back in. And then I don't see any nut up here. And it looks like there's an E-clip or something. Maybe. Does it go all the way around? No. How am I going to get a hold of that thing? I'm going to try a couple screwdrivers at the same time and try to back it off without shooting it across the room. Alright, I got it backed off enough where you can see I can get my screwdriver in there and pop it the rest of the way out. Oop. Uh-oh. I shot it across the room. Hang on. Alright, luckily it shot into my tool drawer. So there it is. It's not an E-clip, it's a C-clip. But there it is. Now let's see if that helps us get this rotor off. Something's happening. Bugger up the teeth on that pinion gear, but I'm just getting up underneath it with a screwdriver and see if I can winkle that thing off of there. There. Pinion gear, all the teeth are intact, not a terrible amount of wear. All right. Uh-oh, what was that? Piece of plastic something or other just came out of there. Lord only knows. I don't see any plastic parts in this. So what that came from, I have no idea. This is your bail trip there. And I was just trying to figure out, oh, there is a shim washer, at least one, that just came off of here. So up underneath that pinion gear, there was a shim washer, brass shim washer. And there's no others, just that one. But I was just trying to figure out. That anti-reverse, and it must have to do with this part here. I wonder what all these MRML, BRBL mean. I don't know. But I am not a spinning reel aficionado, and I certainly could take all this off. There's the 3 heads and the 3 nuts. There's a spring, and it looks like, is that an O-ring in there? Right there. Yeah. Wow. I wonder if that's just like a water seal or something. It's very soft O-ring. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just gonna rinse this good with WD-40 and lubricate it, and that's gonna be it on that. I'm not taking my chances on monkeying around up in there, and I'm not taking off the bail spring either. So, what's that? Little rubber piece here. I wonder if that's what this was. If that ended up going there and be, I don't know. Nothing hits it. But there's a little rubber thing here, and I'll bet you that's what this thing went to. But I don't know what, I don't know what, maybe it's just some kind of a stop for this thing. Keep it from going all the way down. I don't know. But at any rate, that's as far as I'm going with the Langley SpinDrift. And so I'm heading to I'm putting these in the parts tray. And I'm going to head over to the sink, and I'm going to get this all. What is that? That must just be a little tensioner or something for the main gear. I don't think it was a clicker or anything. At any rate, I'm going to get this all cleaned up with Dawn dishwashing soap, WD-40 where necessary, getting a cotton swab down in there on where all those bushings and journals and things are, and clean up the spool, but we'll worry about the drag stack after I clean everything up, and I'll be back just like that. Okay, I found a couple of parts when I was cleaning this out that I want to point out. This is a drag ring. I don't know what it's made out of. I don't see any fibers in it. Almost, maybe it's a thick piece of, I don't know if they had Teflon back then. Maybe it's a thick piece of black nylon. I don't know. But it was stuck on here pretty good. And so that's where that goes. And then the other one I found, where is it? I left it out on the sink. The other one I found was this metal washer, which, where'd it go? Goes right there, where the handle and main gear inserts. So keep an eye on those when you're tearing it apart. So let's get all of our parts out so you can see all that's here. And start reassembling this thing, beginning with putting the rotor back on. And before I do that, I'm going to take a little steel wool to this shaft and just get that polished up. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do the same thing on this, all the way up there, up to the gear. And make sure when you're cleaning this up, you get I got a fine little tool. You could use a tiny screwdriver or something, and there's still a little bit of, look at that, there's still grease coming out of this channel, dried up old grease. So get down in there and clean up the grease out of that channel there. Yeah, those threads have seen better days. Alright, now let's I'm gonna go ahead and just oil the rotor shaft. And I'm gonna put some oil down in this thing too. Maybe I should just grease that just to give it some corrosion preventative. And then slip that back into there. And don't forget we had a shim washer that went all over that, between the housing and the what is that, keyed? I know the shaft itself has got two flat edges, but this is not a keyed washer. And then we've got our pinion gear, and that is of course keyed, so that's going to fit the two flat sides. They're going to line up, and this fits on there awfully snug. I had to pry it off. I'm going to get a little more oil on there. And you got to get it kind of level to get it so it doesn't pinch. And even then it's boy, that fits on there tight. Still not all the way down. There, I finally got that tapped all the way down. Why, that's really snug on there. Probably should have reamed that out a little bit. But it's not quite past the channel that the C-clip fits into yet. So I'm going to have to go down a little. Well, maybe I can push it down at this point. Yeah, I'm pushing it down now. So now I'm past that channel. And we should be able to get the C-clip in now. And that just snugs right in there by hand. I mean, it's all the way in. So the C-clip is in. There's the quarter turn anti-reverse. Alright, now I guess we're ready to oil the axillary shaft here. I'm going to take that washer off for now and get that in there and swirl that around and get a little oil into this rear bushing and just get that all nice and worked in there. And we can go ahead and grease the pinion gear. Just pack those teeth up good with real grease, which in this case is a synthetic real grease. Alright, now we have to slink our crosswind block back on, and the handle's on the opposite side, so, and this knob thing here faces to the rear, and it goes on there like that. And when I was at the sink, I really got these little rollers working really good, so I'm going to oil those now and run them around. They're moving very freely now, which they weren't before, or at least one of them. And we got to get that pin in there. So the pin that holds all this in. Alright, so there's the hole there in the crosswind block, and we got to turn this axle shaft till the hole lines up, and then sneak this pin through there. That pin's somewhat sprung. Doesn't even really fit on there very tightly, but okay, so now we can turn our attention to the main gear side of things and oil the main gear shaft. And I'm going to put a little grease right here where the main gear rides on that. Shouldn't there have been a C-clip there? Well, that's probably what that groove is for, because this goes on there. I'll bet you that groove's for a C-clip. I don't know why else that groove would be there. I think there might be supposed to be a C-clip there, which means I'm going to have to go buy one because I don't have one. But I'll bet you there's supposed to be a C-clip in that groove. But at any rate, we're going to want to grease the teeth on this. And unlike the spin cast reels I usually do, where I don't lather this all up in grease, I am going to grease the interior here because that crosswind block's probably going to be riding around in there. And it wouldn't hurt just to grease the flange on this cover so it doesn't get stuck next time, maybe. Alright, then we got to line up that post with the channel in the crosswind block, and we really should grease up that channel also. So we got to get this on and line up. Thing still fits tight on there. Okay. All right, so if I had a C-clip in there, which I think they're supposed to be. So I'm pulling the back on this and turning. You hear no grinding. If that's pushed up without that C-clip, grinding. So I really think there needs to be a C-clip there. So if you're doing this reel, look for it. You might have to take it off to get the handle off. If it's not there, you might have to do like I'm going to have to do and go buy one, because I don't have one laying around here that would fit. All right, so then I'm gonna oil these threads just as an anti-corrosion. And maybe if I tighten this thing on here good enough, maybe that'll keep it from grinding. But I still think, I bet you it. Yeah, because that thing turns with it. So that isn't gonna do anything, I don't think. I think it needs a C-clip. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I think that needs a C-clip. And I don't even think this has anything to do with folding the handle back, which doesn't surprise me given the age. I don't think they were worrying about such things yet at this point. So I don't think this has anything to do with folding the handle over. All right, now we can put on this side. Well, we haven't screwed in this one yet. Now we can put in this one. Okay, and guess we can go ahead and put the handle on. I did get some WD-40 in this thing. Haven't lubricated it yet, but that's moving much more smoothly, which is going to make a much nicer experience in terms of reeling the thing in. This one, it's kind of narrower on one end and fatter on the other, so I don't think it was designed that way, but that's the way it is, so I'm going to stick the narrow end first. Alright, got that. Maybe that thing does. Boy, oh boy. Maybe that thing does let the handle come down. I can't imagine you'd be able to screw that down. It doesn't want to screw down very far. I mean, maybe it's because them threads are boogered up. I don't know, but it does seem to allow the handle to be bent to a certain extent. Maybe if I force that down, I could get a little more distance on it, but it ain't doing much for the handle. But I'm not going to worry about it. I almost never use those things anyway. One thing I do like about this quarter turn anti-reverse is that I don't have to listen to a confounded clicker. Like some of these old spinning reels, if you got the anti-reverse engaged, it clicks. And so like with my Garcia Mitchells and so on, I never run them with, I always have the anti-reverse override on because I can't stand to hear the clicking out while I'm reeling. If you're casting lures and casting, who wants to hear that clicking all the time, especially if you're at night and you're trying to listen to your lure? I don't want to hear all that clicking. So I'm going to grease up that drag ring just very lightly, that drag washer. And we're pretty much ready for the spool, but we better take and check and see what's involved in servicing this drag stack. And it looks like there's a clip or something in there. That thing's pretty corroded. Now what? Okay, and then we've got looks like a nylon piece. Get that cleaned off. And then we've got a spring. And then, what's this? And it has a nylon look and feel to it. Kind of brass colored, but it doesn't feel heavy enough to be brass. Maybe it is. I guess it is brass. So I got this reel at the Montpelier Fishing Tackle Show in Montpelier, Ohio, which is a great show, and it gets better every year. I almost hate to market it because I don't want competition for good crap. The more people that go, the more stuff they're going to nab before I get it. But it's coming up here in just a couple weeks. I think it's February 15th. It's Saturday in Montpelier, Ohio. So if you're looking to get some good stuff, tackle boxes, reels, antique lures, there's going to be some vendors there of existing companies selling stuff, and this year for the first time. So if you want to make a trip or you're close to that area, I think it would be worth your while. All right, let's reassemble this. I think I got everything. So down goes the brass drag washer, the spring. Line up the keys the best you can, and then reinstall this ring here. All right, so then I'm going to put a little grease on this just to kind of take some of the wear and tear off of the drag clicker on that gear, and then line up the holes there to the flat sides of the shaft. Like that. And I'm going to put a little grease here. Put the drag and adjustment knob back into place. And then add some oil to the handle knob, which got a little crackle in it. I wonder if it's got to be Bakelite. It's got a little crackle to it. Hopefully that doesn't shatter at any point. And there you have. Boy, does that work nice now. Boy, what a difference. Look at that thing. That's much smoother than it was. And of course, the only thing that I really need to do yet is I'm pretty sure, because if I push in hard on this grind, if I pull out on it, not so bad. So I think there might need to be a C-clip in there. But other than that, it's done. The Langley SpinDrift model 860L, which I assume means for left-handed folk. And that made the mid 1950s, 55, 56, somewhere in there, and all ready to go fishing again. Okay, yeah, that's working. Okay, all ready to go fishing again, and pretty nice reel. So I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe I'll see you guys at the Montpelier show, but at any rate, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.